light screen, forehead. Each February, NORC joins the oval racing industry in flocking to North Florida, even if only virtually. A long-standing tradition in the NORCTONA 500 is expanded upon with the 2022 NORCTONA Speedweeks, leading us to where we are tonight. Hello and welcome to Pitstop.TV in the virtual world center of racing. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Caleb Gladney alongside, and Caleb, let's get right back to it. NORC is back for a while. The NORC Classic was a stunner, and the action is only getting started.
Yeah, I think the action is going to pick up right where it left off. Obviously, a little bit different style of race here tonight than what we saw in the NORC Classic, but nonetheless, the cars that you're going to see tonight are going to put on a great show here at Daytona International Speedway. And I think it's a product of not just the cars, but also the track they are at. And then this series in general always puts on a show right here on Pitstop TV.
And of course, we had full coverage of NORC Season 13 not so long ago throughout the 2021 calendar year. It was one of the best seasons of racing we've ever been witness to here on the iRacing.com platform, more specifically here on Pitstop TV, and wouldn't have changed it if we had the chance. It was just fantastic. It came down to the last few races, even with the playoff format, and hey, Daniel Falkingham finally rose to the occasion, finally was able to grab himself a championship, and that set up for just a fall, I think, of much-needed time to kind of decompress from all of that, but we're all ready to get back racing. We're all ready to get NORC back on track, and we were able to do so last week, of course, with the second annual NORCTONA Classic, or NORC Classic, however you want to put that one. Now we continue on with, as I mentioned, NORCTONA Speedweeks, kind of a little bit different. We've always had the NORCTONA 500 play into some, into some way here in February. Now we get to start things a little bit earlier in January, get the NORC Classic out of the way, let's add a few, and let's send NORC off properly. A look at Daytona International Speedway, of course, we all know and love it. 31 degrees of banking in the corners, 18 degrees in the tri-oval. It is one of the trickiest corners that isn't a corner in all of motorsport.
Yeah, it's a beautiful layout there in Daytona Beach, Florida. The 18 degrees in the tri-oval is something we don't see at a lot of racetracks and can be treacherous, especially when they're 3 and 4 wide coming through that tri-oval. A lot of people make comparisons to Talladega, but this track is a lot more narrow. Still has that 31 degree bankings in the turn, but like I said, the 18 degrees in the tri-oval can sneak up and bite you if you're not careful.
The NASCAR Xfinity Series qualifying record here, a 46.298, set by Tommy Houston back in 1987. Will be around that, actually a little bit faster as well, it seems. We may even get, well, kind of right smack dab in the middle of the Xfinity record and the Cup record set by Bill Elliott in the same year. Next week, we do get to look forward to trucks, so we can see if anybody can go for that truck qualifying record of a 47.332 set by Spencer Gallagher in 2015. I don't think we're going to be going up to 42.7s for the NORCTONA 500 qualifying, though. I don't think we'll be going quite that fast.
Yeah, that's a pretty blistering pace, and I'd have to agree with you, Andrew. I think we'll see some quick times, but that one's just outside of this league.
Practice is very much underway, and it has been for some time. We've got a little over 20 drivers, it looks like. We're sitting at about 24 right now, which is a pretty good turnout, all things considered. Several of them are on the speedway. Several of them are getting some times in. Most notably, I think, easily has to be Daytona winner from last NORC points-paying season. That is Cody Miller. He's out there in the number 28, as per usual. There's a look at him, and trading in the normal matte black Chevrolet for a pretty clear Jeff Gordon throwback.
Yeah, throwback to around the 2010 era of Jeff Gordon at Hendrick Motorsports. And I have to say, Cody Miller here tonight going to try his luck once again out of Pennsylvania. A good run last week, and the NORC Classic was running up front there for a little while, but then got in trouble late. Didn't get the finish he wanted, but you can see him right now just putting down some solo times and a beautiful paint scheme.
And in case you missed it, we talked about that Xfinity record because these cars, these ARCA cars, in the sim at least, are pretty close to the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars. Of course, this was the B-Class, or nationwide at the time, now Xfinity Series car, before the more COT-like NASCAR Xfinity Series car came along. So for a point in time, this pretty much was your Xfinity Series car. Now it's kind of transitioned initially to what was called the K&N car, now the ARCA car. It's pretty much like an old steel body car that they ran for some time, even with the Gen 6 composite bodies, but now they've just been kind of phased out. But they are still here on the iRacing.com platform, and they are still a huge fan favorite. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there that are watching, of course, probably follow Sean Williams and all the racing he does, and I seem to always see some kind of ARCA racing on his channel, at least weekly, if not more often than that. So still very much a very popular car. We've got a lot of drivers checking in at this point. Let's see, let's take 16, let's add 4, that's 20, let's add another 6, 26 so far it's looking like. Caleb, that is a pretty solid turnout this evening.
Yeah, it is a good turnout, and it's going to make for a great race, obviously, with the pack-style racing that these cars will go through. And a question I had for you, Andrew, in terms of last week when we had qualifying with the NORC Classic, a lot of drivers chose not to qualify. They would rather just start at the rear and try and work their way up through the field and avoid some trouble. Do you think we'll see something similar tonight when it comes to qualifying, or do you think with these cars having a little bit better handling that they're going to want to take track position?
We will absolutely see a lean towards not qualifying. We'll see a lot of these guys stay in the pit lane and decide not even to go out. It's a plate race. It is a super speedway, and as you can see, Sheldon Lockie having a little bit of fun in practice. That is pretty much what you can expect here until we get racing. It just, for whatever reason, that's just kind of the NORC way, right? And you have that, for example. These guys have a little bit of fun during qualifying, during practice, and then when it comes to race time, when that green flag drops, I can tell you one thing, they have already thrown these cars into every weird situation and every kind of crash you could possibly have. So, to be fair, they are pretty well prepared for anything like that.
Well, that was going to lead me to my next question, and that is, during this practice session, as we can see, and you answered the question, these drivers are pushing these cars to every bit of limit they have, and as we can see right there, trying to put them in every situation possible. And I think that's a bit done on purpose so that when the race comes, obviously it's a different story, but they know what these situations are going to be like and a little bit better prepared.
Well, I will tell you, that is not the conscious effort. That's for sure. Right? A lot of these guys watching, they're just having fun, but that is kind of the overall effect when it's all said and done. They get to go and see what happens in different situations. A lot of these guys, of course, they're some of the most active iRacers on the service. They're always prepared for just about anything that comes their way. Here's a look at Terrell Baker here in practice. TCB has not set a time just yet. He's one of those drivers that's just getting into the session. I wonder if they had to be prelims for something else going on just before this. We've got 26 still, it's looking like, as Elijah Gracia and TCB tangle just a bit. We had a look at some other drivers throughout the field. Let's take a look at some more paint schemes. There's a lot of good ones. There's Tony Hilbrands out of the Midwest. We've got Ashley Molyneux, of course, in her staple two-tone blue and white with a yellow pinstripe. That is just what she runs all the time, and she's going to, it looks like, brake check our champion in Daniel Falcon. Let's go look at that number 20, shall we? Daniel Falcon, we'll see if he gets back onto the racetrack. Good to see him back out here.
Yeah, a good-looking paint scheme from the champion out of New England as well. Daniel Falkingham had a good run. He was running a Valvoline paint scheme in the NORC Classic. This week trades that in for a Cartoon Network scheme, but look for him to be a big-time player in this race tonight.
The classic Casey Kane throwback there of Benjamin Miles. Crazy to think that a Casey Kane paint scheme is now not only a throwback, but also pretty classic. We'll leave that one to everyone else to figure out. Will Klein is out here in a fantastic-looking Lowe's 48. Paired up with some teammates, it looks like. Bobby Cheney's in there. We got Anthony Emery in the 44. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not sure not sure what to say, but they got something cooked up there.
Seth Noel, looks like, didn't get the memo about numbers, running a number 8, and it looks great. It really does. Fantastic Dale Jr. throwback there, but that is not a 27.
No, it is not, but the car looks really good. I feel like the paint scheme and the whole look of the car makes up for the number confusion. Obviously, in front of him was the Rush Trucks Tony Stewart paint scheme. You can see another Dale Jr. paint scheme at the top right there. So a lot of these drivers being very creative with the paint schemes, and that just adds to the fun of tonight's race.
Let's see a look at Nick Northrup there and the Greg Biffle throwback. We've got Tom Mercier out there in an old DeWalt paint scheme. I dare say that's a throwback to Matt Kenseth, and I do think that scheme was run at some point, just not with Dodge Challenger all over it. You see Elijah Gracia just behind. I do love the blank canvas that this ARCA car provides a lot of guys now when it comes to painting. It always looks pretty good. Here's a look at Jared Darling as we're going to have a crash here in turn number 3 behind him. A lot of great paints out there. By all means, let us know which one you like, and maybe we'll even have another Facebook and Instagram and Twitter conversation about it.
Yeah, a little bit of bump drafting going on right there. You see coming through the tri-oval, there's Ashley Wilno as she comes through the tri-oval, the beautiful paint scheme. A good shot right there of the cars shooting off into the distance into turns 1 and 2 with about 3 minutes left here in practice on Pit Stop TV.
Answer some questions out there, Nicholas Adams. These are fixed setups. Granted, it's not as much of a series anymore. You might be able to still get in and join in on the action for the rest of the month of January and into February, but for the most part, this is kind of a send-off for NORC. We're taking what we've got, and we've even got guys like Connor Anton, who's only got 1 series win, going way, way back to earlier on seasons. I could probably find it if I were to look for it, but definitely some drivers coming out of the woodworks. This is kind of a send-off for the NORC iRacing Series, and we are just happy enough to be along for the ride. We've got a whole lot more coverage coming your way in just a few more moments. You can see only 2 minutes left to practice. We're going to take a step aside. We will leave you guys with some fantastic scenes at Daytona International Speedway. We're going to get our final preparations in here for the NORCTONA ARCA 200. Do not go anywhere. More is on the way on Pit Stop TV. Welcome back to the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Qualifying now underway for the NORCTONA ARCA 200. First running of it as well. We haven't had ARCA cars with the NORC iRacing Series in I don't know how long. I don't think it's ever even been the focal point of a NORC iRacing Series season. yet we have it here for you this evening. Of course, it's been run in other leagues that have been associated with the NORC iRacing Series, just not a part of it in quite some time. And Michael Keithley is one of the first ones to hit the track here in qualifying. Will ride on board with the number 53 as he gets up to speed here at Daytona. Newly updated, it's got 3D fencing around the outside, and boy, does it look good.
Yeah, it really does as we ride on board here with Michael Keithley. Coming down here into the tri-oval, picking up as much speed as he can to turn his first qualifying lap. You'll see he's probably going to drop down to the bottom here. No, he's going to stay up by the wall as beautiful shot out the front of his windshield as he's working into the bankings of turn 1.
And these guys have 2 laps. They will absolutely ride the top the first lap, build as much momentum up as possible. It's the same theory, just a matter of extending it into that second lap. Burn that first lap, just getting up to speed, burning some fuel off, and that little bit around the top side really goes a long way to help these times, plummet in a weird way. Kind of sounds weird to say, but Michael Keithley out there in the number 53, and he is working around the speedway. Sean Williams also out there in the Taylor Swift number 89, as we so often see him. Tony Hillbrands is out there in the number 92. A lot of great drivers getting up to speed. One of those, including Jimmy Gregory, one of the newer drivers of the series, was been very, very active over on social media. A cool nod to him as he's going to come around, and I don't know if he's finishing or starting a lap. We'll see here in just a moment.
Yeah, we'll have to see right here as we see Michael Keithley put down a 49.850. Looks like Gregory is just now starting one of his laps as he
just finished his first lap. He goes 5th.
Oh yeah, he did with a 55.11, so working on his second lap here.
You can see the leaderboard there on the left. A lot of drivers opting not to qualify, but this may be actually a race where we see a few more drivers qualify. These ARCA cars, I don't know, they just seem to be fan favorites, as Gregory is still the slowest of the bunch so far, but sometimes a slow first lap means a fast second lap. Just a matter of being able to get up there and not scrub any time, but build as much momentum as possible. TCB goes 5th his first lap, and Jimmy Gregory will exit turn number 4. Keithley now goes purple his second lap. He's booth fast as well. Gregory across the line, where does he go? 3rd.
Hillbrands now jumps to the top of the board there with Molyneux there in 2nd. Keithley rides there in 3rd, as you just mentioned. Briss there 4th, and Gregory in 5th. So actually a good bit of cars making time so far, more than what I would have thought would qualify here with a minute 45 left in qualifying.
Connor Anton on the track in the number 10. Josh Robbins out there. He hasn't turned a time yet. Neither has Benjamin Miles, but they are both on the track. Seth Noel, Jared Darling, Cody Miller, Terrell Baker, they're all finishing runs up, and Seth Noel up to pole. TCB now 4th.
So Noel jumps to the top as we see a car crash here, as now Smith jumps to the top of the board with a 49.207. The time's picking up here as the clock clicks down here in Pit Stop TV qualifying.
Another Jimmy Johnson fan, and Connor Anton begins his second lap here. First lap was 11th, now 12th quick as Cody Miller goes fastest up to 4th. So far, 14 drivers with a time. Benjamin Miles should make it 15 whenever he comes across. Another shift in the running order is Connor Anton looking for some speed here.
We'll see what kind of time Connor Anton puts down. His best lap with a 49.823. Gonna have to pick up a good bit of time here. Working the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see as he comes off of turn 4. Can he hold that car to the bottom of the racetrack, and what kind of lap he'll put down? He comes through the tri-oval, ducks below the yellow line there. 49.228. That will jump him up to 3rd on the speed charts.
Benjamin Miles' run is complete. Bobby Zielinski took to the track for a moment, realized something was off, and will go right back in qualifying time, then going to run out for the entire field, not just Bobby. So that is it. 15 cars out of about 26 or so take a time here in qualifying, and they will get ready then for our starting grid. 27 cars in total, and we are about to roll through the entire starting field. On pole then for the 2022 NORCTONA ARCA 200, Aaron Smith with a pretty solid time, right alongside somebody with one of the highest pole counts in all of the NORC Racing Series. Jared Darling, a very fast time there in the number 1 himself. Starting third this evening for the ARCA 200, it's Connor Anton in the number 10. Seth Noel rolls off fourth in the number 27. Starting fifth here tonight is Tony Hilbrands, one of his rare starts in the series in the number 92. Josh Robin rolls off sixth. Starting seventh at Daytona, it is none other than Daytona winner himself from NORC Season 13, Cody Miller. Sean Williams outside. And to round out your top 10, Caleb, it is none other than fan favorite TCB in position number 9. And to his right shoulder is Ashley Molyneux.
Making up the 11th position inside row number 6, Michael Keithley in the 53. The 97 of Howie Briss will roll off in 12th. 13th is going to be the driver of the number 2, Hayes Booth. 14th, Jimmy Gregory. 15th rolling off is going to be Benjamin Miles in the 35. 16th, Bobby Zielinski in that number 83 as always. Inside in the 17th, Daniel Falkingham in the 20th. 18th is going to be Will Klein, last week's winner. 19th, Anthony Emery in the 44. Bobby Cheney in the 24.
Starting 21st, it's going to be Spencer Owens in the number 12 out of Pennsylvania. 22nd goes to Nick Northrup in the 54. Starting 23rd, it's going to be the number 68, at least tentatively. It seems like some of the order back here is a little mixed up, but it seems like, Tom Mercier should roll off 23rd, Sheldon Lockie then 24th. Starting 25th, we've got the number 74 of John Barry, Elijah DeGracia back here as well, and Scott Shire will round out the field of 27. All in all, again, a very strong field this evening for the first running of this NORCTONA ARCA 200. Weather for today's race, pretty nice and calm. In fact, we're in the morning hours here in Sim. 70.8 degrees Fahrenheit, 72 on the racetrack. Winds, though, they do seem to be relatively high, and that easily could play into this race.
Yeah, you see the winds right there at around 13 miles per hour. The track, like you said, early in the morning with a track of 72 degrees. Track temp 72 degrees. It's going to make for a cool racetrack with a lot of grip.
Just kind of waiting on these guys to all get around the speedway. Of course, Aaron Smith is a pretty solid pick for this race, but you got to think, when do guys like TCB, when do guys like Will Klein get up there and flex a muscle? When do they go for it?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the last week, I don't know if this is just because it's getting towards the end of NORC with like the last hurrah, but they went at it pretty early and stayed at it all afternoon long. So we'll see if the same thing transpires today.
Yeah, the good news is this is a non-points race. There's no repercussions and $50 for the race winner. So everybody wants that $50. Everybody wants to go get some TV time. Everybody wants to go have some fun. That's what it comes down to oftentimes here with the NORC iRacing Series crowd. As we work into turns 3 and 4 for the final time before Tournament of Loose this evening, we, of course, do have to turn our eyes to the one and the only Terrell Baker. Got to see if we can find him here in TeamSpeak. I know he's around. One moment here as I look for him. I see him. There we go. TCB, take it away.
All right, boys, here we are at Daytona. Get a good old Daytona. Yeah!
Working down the backstretch now for the first time. Bottom line led by Aaron Smith. Top line by Jared Darling. And that top side is going to get the advantage to turn 3.
Top side does have the advantage, but the bottom will pull back close. 2 by 2 by 2. They work through turns 3 and 4. Nobody has the edge. A nice speed shot right there as the cars come by. Still like a fast-paced pace lap as they come across complete lap number 1.
Lap 1 in the books. It goes the way of Jared Darling out of Illinois. The entire field still in formation lap. I was going to say pace lap formation. That's kind of where I was going with that one. Seth Noel now topside leader as Darling drops down in front of Aaron Smith, the number 1 to the point.
Darling does pull out in front by a car length. We'll see that number 70 car jump out of line. He's going to fade to the rear. Obviously doesn't want to play early, just wants to save his car. That's Smith dropping through the field as we're getting 3 wide racing to the middle of the pack.
on board here with Michael Keithley, riding in the 13th spot. Got Sean Williams out the windshield. It's a pretty safe driver, but I mean, he's had some bad luck here in recent years in the NORC iRacing Series. Sean is just always one of the better drivers so far, keeping the car clean, keeping it in the race for a long time, but some bad luck is finding both of them right now. As you can see, Cody Miller with some blinks there in the front of the field, getting 3 wide.
3 wide at the front of the field, as you mentioned, and we see Bobby Zielinski not wasting any time coming to the front of the field. The 8 car jumps out below the double yellow line. He's going to drift and get out of this 3 wide battle. Darling pulling back up on the bottom.
Keithley now drops all the way down to the double yellow, gets to the inside of Briss. That's 3 wide, 3 rows deep as the 53 advances on that bottom. Falkingham helping Jared Darling right now out front. Josh Robin, Ashley Molyneux in the middle. Briss drops down low. Booth now drops down low behind Molyneux right in the middle, and the 2 cars stuck up top are Zielinski and Baker.
That 8 car of Robin is going to take the lead there in the middle to top groove. 3 wide still at the front of the field. All the help, however, is down on the bottom of the racetrack. We'll see if that will slow down these top 2 lanes and if the bottom can regain the lead.
So 3.5 laps in, down the Daytona Super Stretch. Josh Robin now noses ahead. Molyneux going to follow with. Robin thought about dropping all the way to the bottom, now officially will drop in front of Jared Darling, and you've still got Bobby Zielinski way up top trying to get that line rolling, but really, Terrell Baker's been the only one to go with.
Terrell Baker has been, like you said, the only one to go with him up in that top lane. Nobody venturing up there yet, as we have a new fastest lap. You see it come across the top of the screen. Jay Gregory with a 45.307. You can see about where Gregory's running. He would have the fastest time being behind this draft, but 3 wide, about 3 lanes deep in this first pack, and the battle continues for the lead.
3 by 3 by 3 by 3. They continue on. Robin now painting that yellow line, Molyneux through the middle, and still Bobby up top trying to get something rolling. Bobby, one of the iRacing pros, holds that pro license, competes annually, at least when he's able to keep himself in the series, and this time he does keep himself in the eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series. Now in that series along with Femi Olot. Femi joined him in 2021. And I got to tell you, seeing Femi Olot grow from just one of the Norkers up to be an eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series driver was almost more fruitful than watching Bobby Zielinski do it. Both of them have run fantastic careers now, and they've both now competed for the Joe Gibbs gaming team. I mean, it's just fantastic being able to see guys that you come up the ranks with, from console games up into iRacing, and seeing them flourish and go up into the top echelon of oval racing on this sim. Really, really special.
Well, both of those guys, like you said, have grinded it out, but Bobby Zielinski still hasn't been able to get that help up on the top side. You see the help he had behind him drop down into that middle lane. Still just 2 cars up on the top line. And Andrew, we talked about how quickly would the intensity pick up, and since the drop of the green flag, the intensity has been there 3 wide. You think these guys are just going for it, like you said, because it's a non-points race?
You know, this is chaos, it looks like, but I think it's pretty controlled chaos. Everybody's been making pretty smart moves. A few drivers have even dropped out, most notably, I think, Aaron Smith and Seth Noel, but this is pretty well-controlled chaos at the moment. They're racing, sure, but they're not racing dangerously, at least not yet. At least no more dangerously than you already get when you're 3 wide at Daytona going 200 miles an hour, right? They're giving each other room. We haven't seen much contact. There it is! I say it, and they crash! Michael Keithley crashes Bobby Zielinski. Jay Gregory gets a piece, and TCB with a clutch spin into the pits, and oh, Keithley miss him. Woo!
Wow. Wow, and it's right on cue, Andrew. Just as you say it, they come out of turn number 4, and the car spins around, but a good save there by the 25. I'll let you take us through this replay here, Andrew, and you had the call. Let's see what exactly happened.
Oh, there was a lot that went down. You can see the field works on by the safety trucks there on the backstretch, and it really is just Michael Keithley gets to the inside for a moment of TCB and then goes up the racetrack. There's really no other way to put it. The 53 moved up the track and thankfully, or not into TCV, but into Bobby Zielinski. And thankfully, it seems like most of these guys get by without too much damage. Just Keithley gets into Zielinski there. I say that, and that's actually decently big contact for Terrell into the wall. You see multiple drivers come into all of that. Most of them all missing, though, including the 29. And I want to say that's Spencer Owens, and it is. He's one of the other guys that didn't get the memo about car numbers.
An interesting start to this race, 8 laps in, and early contact made with a couple powerhouse drivers there in that front pack.
This is a look on board for TCB in this crash. And you'll see he's just going to get blindsided by Bobby. When Bobby gets turned on the top, right there, noses it into the wall. Some right rear contact, left side contact there to spin him around. But all things considered, not so bad. And you can see even the nose of that car is relatively intact. Just some damage on each door. Really, I'm worried about the motor for TCB. That's where the concern is. We'll see if he uses a fast fix, if they have fast fixes. I honestly had forgotten to check into that one, so that could be entirely on me. We'll see what he does here. Jack goes up, still some right rear damage. He's going for optional.
Yeah, so on pit road here early. 9 laps completed of 80. Baker there getting his car fixed up. He was, like you said, the car that probably had the most damage, hitting that wall, just getting blindsided there. Some hard racing early, and I think you just saw from Keithley that push up the racetrack, that arrow push that moved him up the racetrack is what started all this, and a lot of good drivers. We're going to have to see how they recover throughout this evening.
No fast repairs in this race, so TCV's got to sit and wait on the optional. Now, Jay Gregory, I know, was one guy that a lot of drivers had, or a lot of fans had their eye on. He's mostly okay. He's going to have a bit of damage, some right side damage, and I think maybe some left as well. He might have been the car that TCV kind of spun into there and officially went around off of, and it really looks like that 26 is pretty well okay. Some other drivers that slowed down or were involved, Scott Shire, he's fallen back. He looks okay. John Berry as well. Bobby Zielinski, on the other hand, will have that left rear damage for sure.
Yeah, and one thing to note is it's Daytona, so obviously having damage is going to make for an aerodynamic difficulties. But you know, we're 9 laps in, have already had a wreck like this. There's going to be more drivers with damage. There's going to be more drivers with more damage than what we've even seen. So still a lot of opportunities for these drivers to maybe not necessarily get up there and win. We'll have to see what plays out, but still put together a good race.
A lot of drivers coming into the pit lane. A lot of drivers already pitted. In fact, every driver in this race has visited the pit lane under this yellow flag break here. It's now lap 10 of 80, and as you can see, pace car lights have been extinguished. That means we're going back green flag racing this time by to begin lap number 11. And yeah, that was a pretty solid save there when you break it down for TCV.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, had a chance, not, you know, you hit the outside wall, but had a chance to clip the inside wall and then even get hit right there, spinning. Good part on both drivers there. I believe that was Keithley that was almost hit Baker, but so a great set of driving skills and a lot of race still left in front of these guys.
Turn these boys and Ashley loose here in just a moment. I do want to talk about the fact that Ashley Molyneux wins that race at iRacing Super Speedway last June at the perfect time. It was the first race in Pride Month in June of 2021, and it all just kind of made sense. It all just kind of came together on the right stage at the iRacing Super Speedway. I don't know why it made sense. It just all kind of felt right, and I think proves that Ashley is here to play on these big super speedway races and these big super speedways, and is here to give everybody a run for their money. Green flag is going to fly, and Ashley Molyneux is in control of the entire NORC ARCA 200 field. up to speed through the gears, and now down the Daytona super stretch. This is how close they are. Elijah Gracia, that's all he sees out of his nose because he is pushing. Maybe not. Maybe that camera's just in the wrong spot. Regardless, half of a lap down, 3/4 of a lap down, and it's still Molyneux out front.
Molyneux pulls the field from the bottom of the racetrack. That's the lane. But here comes a run from the top side. That 8 car is going to get a run, push for the lead. That's Robin. Molyneux will lead that lap, but a challenge from Robin's coming from the top side.
The first car top side is still Bobby Zielinski, right back up to that line. And I think he knows that he's going to find a tough way of getting that line going. But if anyone ever joins him, it'll be fruitful.
Right now, it's a clear path if he can get help to get to the front, and I think he sees that. Bobby Zielinski's one of those drivers that I noticed last week that's always making those aggressive moves to get to the front, and I think that's what makes him the kind of driver, the kind of iRacer he is, obviously caught up in that crash. And look, he's already back to the top side, trying to work that top lane back to the front.
Jump on board here with Sean Williams, feathering that throttle. As you can see, Anthony Emery in the 44 is going to go up behind Bobby. Doesn't get the line moving yet, but I think give them a corner or two and they're going to get going. Falkingham is now going to pop up there in the 20. You got Williams following Jay Gregory and some others down here on the bottom side. Hilbrands is in front on this bottom line. Now, Gregory goes up top.
Yeah, Gregory moves to the middle, now to the top of the racetrack as we ride on board right here. As we said, that top line starting to get more help, more cars jumping up there. You see what it's done to put that top lane out front. Booth now rides there in second, and they're 3 wide for the race lead.
Hayes Booth now leading the show, well, at least on the top side, and immediately Bobby Zielinski drops down in behind. They left that 2 car out to dry.
Yeah, the 2 car going to get pushed all the way to the back now as Bobby Zielinski jumps in that middle lane. He's just going to ride right now just behind Jay Darling. We're right on board here as we see that 2 car just fall all the way to the back and perhaps get him out of the hornet's nest for a bit.
And we usually talk about the sucker hole here at Daytona, or at least that used to be the talk of the town, especially when these cars were most active. That time, it was the sucker lane on the top side. It just went backwards for Hayes. He was left all alone up there and has gone all the way back, now dropping to 15th. Does he go 16th? No, he's going to get in line right behind Jimmy Gregory in 15th position. But, I mean, considering he was going for the lead a lap or so ago, that is not what you want to see.
Yeah, very big deal for him. I mean, track position isn't as big as it would be at other tracks, but being out front perhaps means a cleaner nose on the front of your car. And right now, if he's going to get back to the front, he's going to have to work through that 3 wide racing as we see throughout the field.
There isn't much that looks as good as 3 wide racing at Daytona. An entire pack working through these high banks at 31 degrees apiece. There isn't much that looks as good as this.
Yeah, and I think the cherry on top is these Gen 4 ARCA style cars. I mean, such nostalgia as a childhood of growing up watching these cars and having iRacing. It's a perfect chance for us to get to see them hit the high banks one more time.
We've not had this car, this exact iRacing ARCA Impala, since fall of 2017. That's how long it's been since we've seen this car on the iRacing set, well, in a Pit Stop TV broadcast. It's been active all that time since 2017, but it's been over 4 years since Pit Stop TV has had coverage of these cars, and this is the perfect way to bring it back. We got 1 car dropping to the rear. I just love these statics. I believe that is Anthony Emery going to the back end of the field. He's going to give up all that time and drop all the way back down to last.
Yeah, it's almost as if they get their car up there and they run and they're like, well, we want to see how the car ran in the pack and what kind of speeds we were making, how we were able to draft. And then once you would get that out there, they're kind of like, we'll save it for the end of the race. But Anthony Emery has dropped way off the pace here, Andrew, and you can see the pack becoming a distant memory as they pull through turns 1 and 2.
He drops some 4 seconds behind Scott Shire, and that gap continues to grow as the field works back down the Daytona super stretch. Lap 20 is coming up quickly. That's the quarterway mark. Somebody that I've noticed has worked his way back into all of this, Tony Hilbrands. He had fallen a little further back in this field and has since gotten right back into the top 10, 8th place to be exact. Looking at the VRS Chevrolet of Bobby Zielinski, you've got Howie Briss down low in the 97. And this is where you reach an impasse. As a driver, you've made up all this ground, say from 15th to 20th or so, you get into the top 10 and you stagnate. It usually is the top 10 to 12 drivers that will stay in this top group, and then there's a gap, and that's where they get single file or a gap just outright with no cars. You get to that zone and you kind of stop, and you might be able to penetrate the top 10 or so by just a little bit in a couple of spots, but it's just so hard when a field is doubled up like this to go anywhere.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, honestly, it's just what your lane can do. You can't really do anything by yourself here. As you see that 20 car of Falkingham go past him on the outside, Falkingham jumps up to 5th, making that uppermost lane all by himself. No help up there, and that's not going to stick for long as he'll fade back into 7th and now 8th.
This just looks good. These onboards, the statics, everything. Jared Darling drops down in front of Josh Robin to assert himself as the leader now, as TCB's going to get some help from Bobby through the middle. TCB might have a go for the leaders. Bobby Zielinski, a bobble into one, hangs on to it. Up the racetrack again, almost into Daniel Falkingham. The handle going away on these cars, didn't expect that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, as you can see down the backstretch, even Bobby Zielinski has a handful of 25, makes a block picker. He jumps down the racetrack in front of Darling. Here comes the 20 of Falkingham up on the outside. Now Darling will shoot to that middle lane. He wants to lead back as they race off of turn number 4.
I feel like TCB had to make that move. He had to get down in front of Jared, or he was going to go backwards with Bobby there. Now Jared goes forwards with Bobby. Into the line they will go, and it's Jared Darling still at the line, but I think there's some longevity in that bottom side. The top can get going, and that's how you pass, but I just don't know if it's going to keep going that way. Bobby Zielinski, of all drivers, is seemingly having handling issues. I almost wonder if he's kind of having fun with it.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've noticed too, and I was just about to say the same thing. If you watch the back end of his race car, I mean, you can see his hand in the hands right there fighting this race car. It seems like the back end just continues, wants to step out, and he's having to save it and step out and save it. So he's got his hands full, but you wouldn't know it by the way he's running. Sits there, and I believe that's 4th position, and he's pushing for the lead after being in that early wreck.
We're on board with him again here. This is a good look at the hands, just what the hands are doing. He's going to push Darling back out front to lead at the quarter mark. And we continue on here at Daytona. We're going to go side by side here on Pit Stop TV as these guys continue side by side at Daytona.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
We come back to you full picture as we continue side by side. Now on to lap number 24. We'll go across the line. Bobby Zielinski in control of the field as he drops down in front of everybody through the tri-oval, gets down in front of Jared Darling, and Ashley Molyneux now leads the top lane. Ashley Molyneux, a big jump of speed, gets up to the point for a moment, and Daniel Falkingham went along with him, but they stagnate now through 3 and 4. The bottom side now has the advantage. Hilbrand's up the racetrack a bit, almost gets into Daniel, and you can see Jared now constricting that flow of momentum, tried to side draft a bit. Ashley leads the lap. Ooh! Thankfully, there was no door-to-door contact there. I don't know. Oh. And TCB has just dropped out of the race. And he's back. Uh-oh. Crisis averted for the TCB camp. It looks like there's a few lag spikes. We see an issue there for Hayes Booth. We saw another car blinking that same lap, but we continue on. Jared Darling pushing Bobby Zielinski, trying to keep the 83 out front. And I wonder how big of an issue temps are for these guys. Of course, you stick behind somebody pushing them for too long, and you're absolutely going to overheat the motors. But how much of an opening is there for the grill? How much air can you get in the car? Look now from the nose of Jared Darling's machine. Just look at how close they are. And these guys are ripping 190 in the corners, getting closer to 200 down the straightaways. You can see that left rear damage to Zielinski's car. Yep. And I think the coolest thing is, okay, that's going to be that way. But I think the coolest thing certainly was being able to see that damage for the number 83 of Zielinski. Seeing that just bit of the quarter panel that was kicked in on the left side is really, really cool to see from that vantage point. It's really hard to tell from here. The TV cameras don't show it, but seeing it there from that onboard of Jared Darling definitely made it apparent. Side by side for the lead, Ashley Molyneux leads in the Morton Salt number 51, and it's Tony Hilbrand's up top. Now, historically, these two have been teammates. I was teammates with them last time I ran in the NORC iRacing Series. I wonder if they're working together again today. Well, good handling race cars will be a commodity, or not commodity, but they will need to be working now. Lap car, Anthony Emery to the bottom side. Lets the field go by up top. That's the right way to do it. Slow goes low. You can let the entire field go on by just about, and it looks like Sean Williams will pick him up and get him into the pack. But one lap down now for Anthony Emery, one of the fieriest drivers in the field, that's for sure. Momentum change back out front. Jared Darling and Bobby Zielinski take back over after Ashley Molyneux and company had to go up high and miss that 44 car. That shuffles Tony Hilbrand's back to 6th place, 3rd on the top side. Keithley now behind him. TCB on the bottom behind Booth, behind Briss, behind Zielinski. On board with Josh Robin. Cody Miller comes on by on the top side. I know last week, being the NORC Classic, was the week of throwbacks, but these are the throwbacks that speak to me. These are the throwbacks that speak to my childhood, and I'm sure a lot of drivers in the field certainly can relate to that, and a lot of the fans watching can certainly relate to that, I'm sure. This is... Oh, TCB's just been crashed. Terrell Baker. And that car is destroyed. You might be able to get it back to the pit lane, but it won't go much further than that. That car is destroyed. He does get it up onto the banking, but it is not going to go anywhere very quickly. And unfortunately, as soon as Sienna chimes in, unfortunately, Terrell Baker is swept up in this one. Bit of contact on the top line, and I have to wonder, did this one involve Michael Keithley again? Keithley, yeah, Keithley is that orange and green car, if you can't quite tell. Now, he just comes way down off the banking, and that's really unfortunate. And getting hit once and getting crashed once, one way is one thing, but when it happens a second time, that's when it gets a little bit frustrating. I can only imagine that driver 25 is a bit disappointed in the way that just went, especially when it's the same car. Now, in fairness to Michael Keithley, TCB came up off the bottom line just a bit as well, but when you're up top, the first thing you have to make sure of is to not come down into the bottom line. Well, as bad a timing as it may have been, Sienna, it's good to see you out in the chat, and yeah, I mean, that's just quite unfortunate to see there for Terrell Baker. Gets swept up in this one, and he's got a good bit of damage to that number 25. We'll join him live in the pit lane here in just a moment. And unfortunately, I just don't know what he's going to be able to do. TCB goes on by the 15-minute counter, or 15-second counter rather, for a pit stop for forward fuel, and he's going to take as much repairs as he can get. And I suppose this could be a decent opportunity. Let's check in on the field. Pace car lights are still on. This is a good opportunity then to go ahead and talk to the driver of the 25, especially after that one. And TCB, not the way we wanted to talk to you at all, especially on lap 33. What went on there? So a bit more of you did want to go up and get up into that middle line then? It wasn't just he came down and got you?
I've been involved in both yellows, and this one's pretty much going to end my day, so.
So, as far as balancing that in, side-by-side situations, especially when you guys are out here not for points, how difficult is that?
It's pretty difficult. I mean, in a way, it kind of, like, gives you a little bit more leisure. Like, there's not, like, as much pressure as if, like, making a move or whatever, you're not really worried about points. But yeah, it's still pretty difficult. You don't want to go out here and just have a wreck fest and everybody's racing pretty clean, but still you still make mistakes out here. It's real easy to make mistakes at super speedway. So
I don't know if we want the answer, but how much optional is there? How much required is there?
I had 8 minutes.
Oh,
I might as well go make a frozen pizza or something at this point.
Or hit up the Mickey D's drive-thru like it says in your car.
You're
Just
right.
an idea. Yeah, yeah.
TCB for a 20% discount online.
Well, buddy, best of luck to you. Hope to see you out. And we've got 3 more races to go. It's not all hope lost. There's still 3 ways to get a win. And, well, best of luck to the 25 in those races.
Yeah. Thank you.
That is TCB from the pit lane as he gets ready to, unfortunately, watch the field continue on without him.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been a part of NORC for a short time, but I got to say, I know why he is one of the fan favorites. A lot of personality and a lot of spunk there out of the man, that 25 machine.
The entire field will work towards the tri-oval one more time and get this race restarted next time. Pace car light's still on. Pace car is still on the track. And we'll go back around. The weather has, well, it's warmed up a little bit, up to 74 on the track, 70.6, about a degree warmer in the air. And considering we started this race in the morning hours, I think that's perfectly to be expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like you said, it's a morning hour race. It's going to get hotter. The track's going to heat up as the race goes on, going to lose more grip. But the question I have now, we've seen 2 wrecks, not necessarily big wrecks, but taking out some really good race car drivers. Do you think that changes the way these next 20 or so laps go if they want to dial it back a little bit, maybe hop single file? Or do you think these drivers are just going to keep doing what they've been doing?
I'm trying to figure out how to put this, but realistically, there's no way it ramps down. The intensity is only going to ramp up. We're coming up to halfway. This is lap 35. We'll restart on lap 36. So that's 5 laps to go to halfway. And that's only 3 laps outside of a fuel run. Maybe 7, depending on how these guys run. That is only a little ways outside of a fuel run as Bobby Zelensky takes the chicane there. And he is a road racer, so it makes sense. But this is... I mean, these guys need a yellow, realistically, if they don't want to have to pit under green. Otherwise, they got to pit under green, and that really shakes things up. I'm not saying anyone's going to go out there and try to cause a yellow, but I wouldn't be surprised if a few of these guys still race with complete abandon. Like, I wouldn't expect anybody to sit back just because we've had a couple of small yellows and a couple of drivers have been taken out. And really, it's only been TCB. Everybody else is still in the field. Daniel Falkingham, though, is 1 lap down. Pace car is going to drop back down into the pit lane, and we're going to get this party restarted. Quite literally, lap 36 on the way of 80. It's side by side up front. Molyneux outside. Hillbrand's inside. Teammates then. And Molyneux drops down in front of Tony. Takes that bottom line away. And Jared Darling now going to have to work the top side. Howie Brits, Josh Robiner up there. Zelensky, Miller, they're both down low. And Hayes Booth is going to try to work with Jared Darling. That much I can tell you. But he's got 2 cars in between he and Jared.
Molyneux continues to pull that bottom. But here comes Darling on the top side. Going to pull back to the front of the field, going to poke a nose out front. Darling just a quite bit out front, but then here comes that 51 of Molyneux pulling the bottom back to the lead.
Cody Miller and Hayes Booth had a moment there in 1 and 2. And now Hayes right in behind Cody Miller. Cody's won here rather recently. In fact, the start of season 13, the 28 went to victory lane for one of the few times in his career. And actually one of the 4 times in his career, to be exact. I wouldn't be surprised if Cody hangs around right to the end of this race, but I am kind of surprised to see him in the mix of things this early on. We're not even halfway, and oddly enough, Cody Miller's in the mix. Across the line, Howie Briss leads.
Briss, a new player out front, using that top side to gain his way to the front of the field, getting some help from Robin there on the top side in second. Bottom lane, though, Darling pulls that bottom lane. Once he got to the lead, jumped down, and he's been a bottom feeder, it seems, all afternoon, and he's got Molyneux right behind him.
Steel City Sirens making a bold prediction, big one with 3 laps to go. We've got some 40 laps to go until that point. 43 that last time by the start-finish line. Everybody races on through 3 and 4. And out of the fourth corner, we'll wrap up lap 38. Who's going to lead it? I think easily. Should be Jared Darling to the line. Yes, it is. Molyneux, though, down low. Now with some momentum, bringing Tony Hilbrands, bringing Bobby Zielinski, even bringing Jimmy Gregory.
Well, it seems like the two cars that have worked best together this afternoon is Darling and Hilbrands. I apologize.
Oh, Jared Darling in the wall, hard.
Just as I say Jared Darling's name, up into the wall, contact made.
A lot of right side damage there for Jared Darling. He gets back control of the car. Nobody behind him for a while. See if we can find a good angle here. You can see, really, it's just been pancaked in the wall, but that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happened here with Darling. And man, that's a heavy hitter going down here, Andrew.
We'll look back at things for the number 1 car of Jared Darling. From high above the Daytona Super Speedway, does Howie Briss just make a little bit of contact here? Oh, Jared just goes straight up.
Wow.
That has the looks of maybe interference. I know he's got a dog that likes to be a friend. I don't know what that is there for Jared Darling, but he is now in the pit lane and seemingly might be done. That right front tire is now missing, and we saw TCB getting back out there. Yeah, no right front on there for Jared Darling. That's a problem. You kind of need that one.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, State Green Flag Racing continues to go laps down here as the racing picks up once again. Darling pulled out of the picture there as Molyneux there on the bottom with the 97 car in Booth right there in the second lane pulling there. Here comes the 83 of Zielinski joining the picture again. So all these cars still battling hard just past the halfway point as we continue to race on.
So Jared Darling then done likely for the day. Just love watching this field work around here. It's something special. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, it's just what we grew up on, these paint schemes and this style of racing. I mean, it's just bringing it back full circle, and honestly, it's an honor that we get to see it once again.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 Jeff Gordon paint schemes out there, 2 identical Jimmy Johnson throwbacks to one of the best 48 paint schemes ever run, easily. And we can go ahead and bring that up. Anthony Emery sporting it. Will Klein as well. And Will Klein, of course, won last week. There's another Jimmy Johnson throwback in the distance, a couple of Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwbacks, of course, a couple of Matt Kenseth looks, a Greg Biffle Granger paint scheme out there. How cool is that to see?
Yeah, I mean, that Greg Biffle Granger paint scheme is taking it way back in these cars. You see, I love the Jimmy Johnson paint scheme that we pointed out right there. There's been some really good Dale Jr. schemes that you mentioned. So a lot of these drivers came to play today in the paint scheme game.
That they did as we work on past lap 43 now, or on to lap 43. This is the look at things from Nick Northrop's perspective. And the lead is changing hands still a few times, and this is kind of how it looks to be in the pack with the NORC iRacing Series at Daytona. Now, Northrop started 22nd, currently sitting around the 14th, 15th spot. Now going to move a little closer to the pack. You can hear him check up a little bit. And he kind of slots right in behind Bobby Chaney there in the 24 car.
Yeah, and these cars don't necessarily like bumpers as well as others have been built here for Daytona. So whenever you have these big runs, it's not like how in these modern cars you can just give them that shot of momentum. You really do have to lift and avoid all contact, altogether, and if so, just a little bump.
Yeah, you can't just hit a guy. You've got to be careful in the way that you bring a run. Is one car in the fence? That may have been, I'm not sure actually, but that car is still plowing the wall down. It might be Benjamin Miles up there, and yes, it is. I've noticed a few cars playing with the outside wall in 1 and 2 especially. Now Miles is the latest of the victims, comes down and almost gets Will Klein and Spencer Owens. And that number 35 is looking worse for the wear. A caution up ahead.
Car spinning down through the racetrack.
And this is the look at things for Benjamin Miles. There's North. No, that was Robin down on the inside that he just passed. TCB comes on in. and we've got problems. Gregory, one of those involved. I dare say this is going to start somewhere towards the front of the field. Josh Robin, one of those involved. You can see him there with Howie Briss. Robin drops down, and Molyneux with contact just gets the 8 car unsettled, and they kind of all wadded up.
That's the big one. Wow, cars just keep piling in. A lot of favorites in this one. Booth, the start of that one getting clipped, and then more and more from there.
This will be another look at things, this time from the blimp. You can see that's where the 35 goes plowing the wall down. John Barry then drops back. I wonder how he fares in all of this. And watch the red and black 8. Now second place, right behind Howie Briss. He drops down in front of Ashley Molyneux. Briss tries to go with. That gets the 8 unsettled on the apron, and that's what starts all of this. Zielinski tries to go up and miss everything and ends up getting into John Barry. They make some contact. Gregory gets a piece. Cheney gets a piece. Mercier stops for it.
Well, if you are one of these drivers that hasn't necessarily been up in the thick of things and has kind of just been hanging out, that right there is why you might have the cleanest race car now.
This will be a look at things for John Barry. And keep your eye on the 83 that comes up alongside now. Bobby's going to try and miss it as it gets started there. He goes up the racetrack, and I don't think realized that he had John Barry to the outside. They tangle and look at everything from behind. Hayes Booth, a big hit there at the back end. Keithley gets into him. Grossi goes for a spin. So that is caution number 3 here at the Daytona International Speedway in the 2022 NORCTONA ARCA 200. A big part of 2022 NORC Speedweeks. Really the first time that we're doing this kind of thing. It's usually been just the NORCTONA 500, maybe a race or two extra like we had last year with the NORC Classic, the first running of it. This year adding to it, and well, you know, we got to be honest. This is technically a send-off for the NORC iRacing Series. We don't know if there will be future iterations. We don't know if there will be future races. All we know for right now is we're racing to February 1st. We thank you for joining us so far this evening, and we thank you for choosing Pit Stop TV on this Tuesday morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you're watching from. We're going to take a step aside under this caution and flag and be right back to you with the restart.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home by combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Daytona International Speedway. The field works through virtual turns 3 and 4 as we get ready to go back green flag racing. We're nearly to lap 50 of 80. That would be 5/8 of the way through this race, matching the length of the ARCA General Tire 200, always held in February. We're getting darn close to NASCAR Speedweeks. In fact, for the first time in recent memory, Caleb, we actually had Daytona testing today. Isn't that pretty cool? Kind of bringing that throwback feel back to things. We're going to turn things Back over to the drivers of the NORC iRacing Series. Howie Brisk going to lead us to the green flag, and lap 48 is underway. Most of the field still intact, working down the Daytona Superstretch. Cody Miller now out front. John Barry is going to give it a go around the outside. Sheldon Lockie is going to help the number 74, and we've got a race.
The race is on at the front of the field, coming around a complete lap 49 of 80. The 28 car sits out front still, double wide behind him for about 9 rows deep. They come across the stripe to complete this lap.
On board with Connor Anton, one-time race winner of the NORC iRacing Series. He now sits about 9th or 10th, depending on how you count it. Benjamin Miles outside. There's Tom Mercier on the outside lane as well, and this is a big run for Connor on the bottom. It's a lot of space made up there, right up to the back end of Sean Williams, the number 89, and that top side right now isn't going anywhere. John Barry up there with Sheldon Lockie and Tom Mercier, and it is not working out.
Yeah, John Barry not being able to pull the top lane as we've seen other cars do. And as I say that, John Barry pulls a little bit closer to the front of this field, but Cody Miller continues to pull that bottom lane out front. Now things will even up. They'll run side by side.
Oh, Cody Miller! I think
he save there by Miller.
Yeah, for real. And oh my goodness. Ashley Molyneux, I don't know where she was taking that one, but down to the bottom side she will go. To the inside now of John Barry. This entire field is split up now with the absence of Cody Miller. Ashley down to the bottom takes the lead.
It seemed like when all the intensity picked up with that one car shooting through the grass, everybody was making moves, and right now it puts Ashley Molyneux at the front of the field.
John Barry leading the middle. Lockie, for a moment, tried the very top side, now gets back down in front of Mercier. And look at Benjamin Miles. Just laps after plowing the wall down on his own, is back in it, pushing John Barry out to the lead and coming across the line in third that lap. Good stuff then from the 35.
Yeah, no doubt with good stuff there by Miles riding inside that top lane. Pat continues to run. He ventures up to get some clean air on the nose of that race car, pull out of line a little bit, but still rides there second in the top lane. And I'll have to say, when you look at this top 10, Andrew, it looks a lot different than what we saw after that crash. A lot of new players at the front of this field.
Yeah, it does. It's completely different. You've got maybe 2 or 3 of the same players, and everything else is jumbled around. Ashley Molyneux still up there, Howie Briss and Sean Williams, but otherwise it looks almost entirely different. There's some 3 wide back here. Josh Robin isn't part of it. Sheldon Lockie's 3 wide with Michael Keithley to the bottom. Jay Gregory is back in all of this. We just saw Jay Gregory waddled up, and oh, he's loose on the bottom side. Catches it. Good catch there.
A good save right there for Gregory. He rides behind this pack, now going to go set to go back to work here. Ashley Molyneux still leads. John Barry there in second. He's still up on the top side. A nice shot right here as we ride on board. You can see how he has to lift right there before he gets this bump each time. Jumps up to the top side right there. Jimmy Gregory continues to ride around near the end of this first pack.
Jimmy now sitting back. Aaron Smith goes by on the bottom. And Jimmy will drop down to 16th spot across the line that time. Here we go. The rest of the field working into the tri-oval again. John Barry, quick move to the top side. Goes outside of Ashley Molyneux. Howie Briss down low. And that puts Ashley in the sucker hole.
Yeah, you mentioned, would we see the sucker hole? There it is. Ashley Molyneux there is in it. But that 35 car of Miles dropping down will help that cause a little bit and put that 8 car of Robin in the sucker lane, as you mentioned earlier, as he will continue to fall back.
A look now from Cody Miller, who had that issue a few laps ago. Got right back into it. I mean, just fantastic catches 2 laps in a row. First Miller, then Gregory. Now we'll see if Cody can do anything from the top side. He's third in line. Miles leading that line, and Benjamin Miles just might get the lead at the stripe. To complete lap 53, it's not quite enough for the 35. He doesn't quite lead it, but he's got a shot here. Never mind. Molyneux muscles down to the inside, puts the 35 up in the top lane, and that's Miles done, at least for the moment.
Race in and race out, 54 laps into this. I think there's one car we can highlight that has not just been a comer and goer, but she has been a car that has proven to be stout and stay at the front of the field, and that's that 51 car of Ashley Molyneux.
Easily. One of the more, I think, proactive in movements throughout the field, and certainly makes some, not always aggressive moves, but makes moves. Gets moves done, puts herself in the front of these fields every time we visit a super speedway with the NORC iRacing series or otherwise. Just always a good plate racer, super speedway racer, pack racer like this.
Well, I think we've heard Dale Jr. say this before, and if you're any new to plate racing, his philosophy is riding at the back has never been what's won him races. It's trying to get to the front and be as aggressive as possible and lead as many laps. And he says that's always kept his nose clean. And it seems like she has that same philosophy, and she's making it work right now as she jumps back to the front of this field.
And to be clear, it's not always being aggressive necessarily. It's one of the big things that he used to say that stuck with me was being selfish. You owe nobody anything in this field. You've got to be selfish. Work on your race. Put your race together. Put yourself in the front. And for some reason, that was always something that stuck with me that Dale used to say as far as pack racing, Daytona racing like this. John Barry down low, leading that bottom line. Howie Brisson behind. Sean Williams, Hayes Booth join him. And the top side is pioneered currently by, well, it was pioneered for a moment by one of the Jeff Gordon machines. I want to say, yeah, it was Bobby Chaney up there in the 24. Now drops in behind Molyneux, Miller, Northrup, and Robin.
Cody Miller, as you see, Ashley Molyneux jump down to the bottom of this racetrack. That'll leave Cody Miller the sole leader of this top lane after his awesome save coming through the tri-oval. He rides there in second now, pulling a little side draft off of that 74 car of John Barry. He's going to push for the lead here.
Lapped car here of Falkingham on the bottom side. The field goes on by. Things constrict, things get tight, but we keep racing into turn one. Everybody gets on through for now. And Cody Miller right back to the top lane, challenging for this lead once again. We're coming up on 20 to go, and these guys are good on fuel at this point. They're good on tires. There's no need for them to worry about any kind of pitting. It's just race to the end.
I mean, they're pushing it to the limit. Cody Miller going to jump to the lead, but Ashley Molyneux going to pull back tough there on the bottom. Both these drivers have just about equal amount of help. You see one car up there in the top lane, that's the 24 of Chaney. No help, going to fall back unless that help does jump up there, come to complete lap number 58.
We'll now jump on board with John Barry, still following the number 51 of Ashley Molyneux. Has been pretty loyal so far, just hanging on the bottom side, and I really think it's not a matter of loyalty to the driver, it's a matter of loyalty to the brand almost, to staying on that bottom side and just keeping yourself in the race. It's a matter of loyalty to the strategy at this point for John Barry, keeping himself down low, keeping himself in really, I think, the best lane if you want to race for this win, especially if you keep yourself towards the front of it. If you keep yourself first or second on that bottom lane, you got a great chance to win this race. If you go up top and mix things around, yes, you can go forward, so I think the ceiling raises up, but the floor of where you can end up just drops. You can easily get sort of way back outside the top 10, even outside the top 20 in a jiffy.
Looking back here at the front of the field, still double file. The 28 car of Cody Miller edges a little bit out front, but then that bottom lane comes right back. Typical plate racing. One lane gets a little bit out front, then as soon as you enter the turn, another lane pulls back to it. So clean racing at the front of the field, still stacked double wide.
Watching the field work down the Daytona Super Stretch, and there we go, a move from Cody Miller. He drops down low. Northrup now going to lead the top lane. I say the top lane, the middle lane really, because the top lane is just one car strong, and that is Michael Keithley trying to work his way up the outside. He's moved up a few spots. I mean, he's gotten ahead of Chaney now alongside of Gracia. Next one will be Robin if he can get alongside of the 8 car. Northrup and Miller separated by thousands that time across the stripe.
Northrup, a new player at the front of this field. He's got the 8 car of Robin just behind him. I'm curious to see how long Ashley Molyneux will ride there second on that inside lane before she tries to make a move to put herself back out front.
On board here with John Barry again. You got Josh Robin outside. He's aggressive on these plate tracks, and he takes pride. in his plate racing. He takes a ton of pride. He's out on the Dakotas, chases naders, farms taters, and he just wants to go racing and win some races, especially in a number 8 car on these plate tracks. That's all he's here to do. I mean, he is simply here to win these plate races, especially at Daytona. Talladega works too. He's just here to win, and he will take no prisoners in that number 8 car.
Well, that's the kind of racing we love to see at these plate tracks. I wouldn't say maybe his competitors love to see that. They know they're racing with a guy that's going to put it all out there and leave it hung out to dry.
You can see Barry on the inside there of the number 8. And how fast are these guys going? 195, a buck 96, a buck 97 now. Nearly 200 down to the corner as he follows Northrop in the draft. These guys pick up a ton of speed. Their qualifying times were the 49s, 48s. Now they're running 45s consistently.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this pack does. 61 of 80 laps complete coming across the track right there to make it 62 laps now. Cody Miller set himself out front. He's been able to keep it in that first and second position for, I would say, the better half of the second half of this race after that save. So new players at the front of the field, but I think as we get closer to this finish, we're starting to see the cars that are here to stay and ready to play.
Daniel Falkingham swerving in the background, 3 wide, 3rd row back now as Barry's down low, Gracia in the middle, and Bobby Chaney gets something rolling up top. Northrop is going to drop down for the race lead right in front of Cody Miller and shuffle up the entire mixture, really, of the pack. Miller gets clear of Robin for a moment, had a look maybe. Molyneux gapped back, and even John Barry fell back a little bit across the line there. It's almost dead even between the Jeff Gordon machines.
Dead even, as you mentioned, that top lane coming back into this race. 3 cars jump up there. I think they're going to need a little bit more help than that if they're going to ever make that run to knock that bottom lane off from being the best. But a good start, a good try. You know, you only with just over 15 laps to go here in this race. You know, you got to start trying now and see if you can get those helpers up there to help make a push towards the end of this race.
Love the shots from the rear of these cars. Just seeing somebody get a run, ride up to somebody, just hold that, try and use the bubble of air to push them forward. It's an art here on these super speedways. Josh Robbins on the outside of the number 8. We're on board with Northrop leading this race, though. And we're looking back at Cody Miller, who's now 4th because Chaney has got that top rolling again. And he even gets ahead of Robin for the moment and pokes into the lead.
Pope is going to get into the lead, the 3 wide for that race lead, that 24 car of Chaney getting that top line rolling. He's only got 1 car back behind him. 3 wide for the race lead down the Daytona Superstretch.
3 by 3 now up front. Gracia in the middle in that second row saying, where do we go, boys? Trying to find, oh, actually goes up the racetrack a bit, almost into Connor Anton. And now Keithley going to lend some aid to the back end of the 42 car, trying to get that middle rolling. It's now a 2-car fight. Chaney drops back ever so slightly. And it's Robin across the line. I mean, this is just ebbing and flowing every single lap.
Yes, right place, right time. We'll see, wow, almost contact made right there. Perhaps a little bit of side draft there by Robin to try and shoot him into the lead. These drivers have to be perfect in a 3-wide pack just like this.
We're on board with Michael Keithley. Now, faults one way or the other. Keithley's been the center of 2 of our cautions already. He's in this 3-wide pack as they work through 3 and 4 now. Connor Anton going to be up top. Gracia out the windshield, and now Chaney is out there. Chaney falling way back on this lap, but he's going to get a resurgence back out of turn 4 and across the line. Challenges at least, but a little too far back. Gets 3rd across the line as Northrop leads that one too.
Northrop leads that one, as you mentioned. The 28 car there of Cody Miller rides there in second. We'll see how long he will continue to ride there as the laps wind down. Also, Ashley Molyneux starting to come back into this picture. She works into the top 5. Here comes Robin there on that outside lane. Laps winding down, but the intensity continues to pick up.
Working lap 66 of 80. Field goes on by, now works out of turn number 4. And Northrop's going to have this lead to the stripe. Just ever so slightly as now Cody Miller's up top in that second lane, and he's going to nose ahead after the tri-oval. Didn't quite have it at the stripe, but you don't need to. You just need to set up for that final lap, and we've still got 14 to go.
14 laps to go. Seems like an eternity, but it'll go by quick as this intensity continues to ratchet up another notch. Here comes Ashley Molyneux there on the bottom. Going to put Northrop back out front. Cody Miller there on the top side. 2x2 down the backstretch.
Working to 3 and 4 with 14 to go. We'll get 13 at the stripe. And now this front pack kind of strings out a little bit, narrows up a little bit. Cheney is falling back. Hayes Booth and Aaron Smith along with. Now you've got the 20 car of Daniel Falkingham, the last car in this group, and he's a lap down. He's sitting behind Barry, who's 11th. So it's a 12-car group up front. One of them is a lap down, and this is the view of it from behind.
Yeah, you can see how tight this pack is staying together. I mean, pushed up into the wall right there. It goes Falkingham.
He's been very, very quiet in this race. The number 20 has just been kind of there so far. Cheney's going to get a run back up to Lockie and try and get back into this group. With 10 laps to go, you've got to go. I mean, this is properly go time. Even TCB recognizes that. Terrell Baker is back in this race. Despite all the damage, he is in it. And he is, admittedly, many laps down. He is 6 laps down. And in fact, Daniel Falkingham is 12 laps down. But TCB is back out there. The car is competitive again. And if we get a few yellows, you never know. 6 laps, that could be possible to make up with enough yellows and enough help from the admins.
Yeah, you really never know. And if anything right now, he's flexing a muscle right here. I mean, with everything that's happened to him today, to get up there and compete, although he's laps down, he's still showing this field, hey, if these laps weren't here, you best believe I'd be right here at this front of the field competing for the win.
Jay Gregory, another one of those drivers, has been in a couple of wrecks and is still in this. You can see Josh Robbins damaged there on the left side of that number 8 car. As it looks like Gracia is outside of Gregory here, and yes, that is Gracia in the 42. 11 laps to go at that time. When do the moves start to come? When do the moves start to be made? As they go by a lap car and Hillbrands, and door-to-door contact, Northrop and Molyneux. Molyneux just barely drops in front of Cody Miller to keep herself in that second lane, and there we go. Sean Williams going to say, nope. I think he's going to get turned out of there. That was definitely not by choice.
Yeah, I don't think that was by choice at all. I think most definitely contact was made right there. Not as what the 89 car wanted to see, is now he drops all the way to the rear of this field. No caution right there. The battle is set. Cody Miller right there in the second lane with the 97 of Briss, and out front is Northrop and Molyneux.
It's going to start to get spicy, boys. 10 laps to go at Daytona. Molyneux and Northrop, more contact that time. And this is a proper chess match at 200 miles an hour. Sometimes it's going to feel like a bit of wrestling at 200 miles an hour as well. When they start to make that contact back and forth, kind of rubbing on each other, yeah, that's when it starts to get a little bit hairy. On board here with Josh Robin on the top side, 3rd car in line, and here we go. Somebody else even further up. It's a 68. Tom Mercier, a big run. It kind of stalls out.
Yeah, jumped to that outside lane, didn't have the help. Mercier rides there on the top lane. Car Booth slides up the racetrack. No contact made right there. We'll see who leads this lap as they come down to the stripe. Perhaps a future of our finish. 54 car of Northrop leads that lap with Molyneux there in second on the top side.
John Barry getting the momentum going with Tom Mercier up top. They started to have something now. I think Barry might have just caught the wall, drops back, and you can see Tom even falling back on that top side. That's going to go nowhere. So that leaves really just the 2 lines up front for the moment. Molyneux up top. Had a great run out of the corner, now dropping back right to the nose of that 28, and I don't think Cody Miller wants to stay there. I think the last thing he wants to do is push Ashley Molyneux anymore, especially after a few laps ago when it was such a close call. Howie Briss almost gets into Ashley out of turn 4. 8 laps to go this time by.
Well, right now, I don't think Cody Miller has much of an option other than to push her right now. The top lane hasn't really come in, and he could step out there and see if he could make a pass, but without help, I think he would just drift to the back and might not have enough laps to bring it back to the front. But you can see him peeking to that
Michael
outside
Keithley.
lane. Does he have a car go with him?
Michael Keithley very much out of shape on the bottom side. And we talk about peaking. Oh, yeah, we're going to see some peaking here in these last couple of laps. Cody Miller's already been testing the waters. Is somebody going to go with me? Is Josh going to go with me? And a lot of these guys have opportunities to talk to each other, but they do sometimes split into other weird orientations of channels and such, and they don't always end up talking to each other in the way that you might think. John Barry, though, is going to get a massive run. He's got the lapped Daniel Falkingham pushing him, and at this point, if Falkingham can push John to the lead, I don't think that 20 car leaves John's bumper. There's no reason for him to do so. He's 12 laps down. Just keep pushing John Barry. See if we can help him get that win.
Yeah, it might be just the thing John Barry needs, is having that car right behind him as almost a protector there and a guaranteed helper for these last closing laps right here. Daniel Falkingham, one of the drivers we highlighted as a driver that could win this race today, as we mentioned, multiple laps down here, but is helping
they get close.
That 74 car of John Barry.
That was very close. That time, through 3 and 4. Oh, it's only going to get closer. Grab your blood pressure medicine. Grab a stress ball. 6 laps to go at Daytona, and we've got 3 by 3 by 3. By 3 even, I think, as we work into turn 1. Northrop leading down low. For a second, it's 3 wide. Howie Briss on the inside. Ashley Molyneux middle. John Barry outside. Cody Miller and Jimmy Gregory are right behind.
Jimmy Gregory slid up the racetrack ever so slightly there in turns 1 and 2. They're at 51 car of Ashley Molyneux trying to get the side draft to push her back to the lead.
You're absolutely right, guys, in the chat. Checkers or wreckers at this point. 5 laps to go this next time by the open palm of the iRacing flagman. Barney, there's some contact. Howie Briss and Ashley Molyneux. Side by side, they door bang that time. They go across the stripe, and it is all for now. The 74 in the middle. Keithley, all kinds of out of shape. Almost took off the right rear of Molyneux's car. But Robbins in the wall.
Robbins does get up into the wall. No harm, no foul. We stay under green as John Barry takes the lead out front.
Takes the lead proper now. Drops down in front of Northrop. Molyneux in the middle. A little bit of help from Miller still on the top side. That is a lap down car. That red number 20 is Daniel Falkingham, who was 12 laps down in 25th.
Putting on quite the show, though, even though being 12 laps down, and has been a helper for that 74 car of John Barry to be able to get back out front and control this race.
We race on. 4 laps to go. This is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one at some point. I don't know when. The call out earlier was 3 to go. We'll see if that comes true this next time around. We've got 3.5 laps to go this time out of turn number 2. The very top side, led by a lap car. That's Daniel Falkingham. The bottom still pioneered by John Barry. And now the middle lane. It's Ashley Molyneux getting pushed right back out front. And just like that, the advantage goes back to the inside. John Barry.
Inside lane has great help there on the bottom of the racetrack, but
Ooh.
Ashley Molyneux has shown that she can flex that muscle all afternoon. Long side drafts there in second. We're coming to just 3 laps to go.
3 to go that time. 3 more trips on the Daytona International Speedway. The next time through, it's 5 miles to go. Northrop up the racetrack. Almost got into Molyneux. Almost got into Miller. Howie Briss is sitting back. Where can he make a move to get back into this race? Michael Keithley is stuck up behind a lap car on the very top side. What can he do to push ahead?
Well, I don't think he's going to waste his time with this lap car. If he sees an opportunity to get past this car or move that car, he will just do that. They said checkers or wreckers. Well, we're getting to that point.
Oh, well, there we go. Wreckers at a turn 4. Big crash, and you guys were right. 3 to go. Caution flies at Daytona. Josh Robin involved. Benjamin Miles as well. Robin's car is a mess. Benjamin Miles is right there with him. Not so bad for the 35, but that is definitely a crashed Dodge Intrepid. Or at that point, was it a Charger? No, that's Intrepid, definitely. That's gotta be.
I think that's an Intrepid. I think the Charger came just a little bit after that.
Yeah, those taillights, I think, are telltale. I think that's Intrepid era. Regardless, we've got a crash with a couple of 8 cars. And you know what? This is what happens, Seth Noel. When you don't pick the right car number, when you don't have the right car number on your car, this is what happens. 3 to go at Daytona. You're going to get taken out. Objectively, oh, that's bad. That is some painful netcode.
Just snapped around. I mean,
yeah, that is some painful netcode. You can see the point where the car jerks to the side, and that is telltale contact, at least with the iRacing hitboxes. But unfortunately, visually, neither driver did anything to make that kind of contact, and it doesn't come across visually for us. So it's, you know, unless you've been on the sim for years and know what to look for, it looks like, what the heck? It looks like the car just broke, the rear end came out or something, but I can promise you that is some simulated netcode here in 3 and 4, and let's take a look back at it. Watch that purple 8 in the middle, and watch for the jerk of contact right in here. The 26 goes up a tiny bit, and the sim, with his prediction code, predicts that he's going to continue up. It might have been right in here, a little further through the corner. Yeah, there it is. There's just that bit of contact, and the car goes for a spin. What I like about netcode is it simulates random part failures. What I hate about netcode is it simulates random part failures, and you have these massive crashes, and that's a big hit there for the 8 of, well, the 27 of Noel. Thankfully, even though Hayes Booth gets a big piece of that, you can see where the car kind of phased through almost a bit of Seth Noel's machine, and he will get on without any damage, more than likely. Benjamin Miles, on the other hand, flat out T-bones that 8 on the right side of your screen. That was Josh Robin.
yeah, Josh Robin right there gets a lot of contact. One of those powerhouse drivers we've seen all evening long. And so this is going to shake out for a shootout for the ages right here. Final laps of this race. Another on-board picture. So I think we'll get to see right here, Andrew, this car snap around.
And watch the purple 8 right ahead. Yeah.
Right there. Yep. I mean, it just, wow.
A lot of hits there for the Minnesotan. I want to say it's Minnesota anyway. It might have been one of the Dakotas. But Josh Robin around. What this does is gives us a pretty interesting setup for the back end of this NORCTONA ARCA 500, ARCA 200. I'm going to have to get these straight at some point. The NORCTONA ARCA 200. It's a lot to say. John Barry is going to be your race leader, at least for now, and when we come to the restart, he's going to choose the top side, it looks like, opting to go with the help of Cody Miller. That's a pretty telltale sign of choosing to me. And yes, Ashley Molina will fill the inside lane. Ashley's going to have Northrop, and I'm going to be honest, I think I'd rather be in Ashley's position.
Yeah, that's, man, Ashley's been good really anywhere she's put her car, but the bottom seems to be the best, and it just opened up the bottom. And you got to think, I don't think Cody Miller wants to sit there and just be a pusher to the end of this race. I think he's going to want to make moves.
Whereas in the bottom, if you're Northrop here, you don't have many options unless Molino moves from out in front of you. You know, if you're Cody Miller, you can go middle or top. If you're Northrop, you don't have that option, at least not as quickly. So I really like the bottom here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe John knows something we don't. I mean, he made all his ground up to get to the lead on the top side, but I just think that was a little bit different. Like I said, he had that lap car behind him. This is just a different story now.
As we work down the backstretch on lap 81, this is, of course, going to overtime. That means we've got unlimited attempts at finishing this race under green. That's right, you guys heard me. Unlimited. Strap in. This one could take a little while. If we do get a caution on the first lap, we'll get a restart. If for some reason the leader takes the white flag, just like in NASCAR, if we get to that white flag and go underneath the flag stand for one to go, presented by Tucson Sound Art, that is the race. It will be considered official. But the way these go, more often than not, we have at least 1 or 2 more opportunities to finish this race. We'll see what we can do here. Lap 81 coming to lap 82. John Barry in control on the outside in front of Cody Miller. Ashley Molino down low. Let's get this race restarted. Already, the field all kinds of squirrely. You see Lockie up to the top side, getting that run with help of Cheney. Keithley is all over the place, and a caution comes out. We've got another crash.
Crash back further in the field.
It's like Connor Anton.
Yeah, with that Jimmy Johnson foundation paint scheme.
Connor Anton restarted just in front of Will Klein here, one of his fellow Jimmy Johnson fans, and he's behind Hayes Booth in the number 2 to the inside of Spencer Owens and Scott Shire. One can only imagine what goes on here for the number 10. Watch the white and blue 10 on the bottom side, yellow numbers. Will Klein goes middle, and oh, Scott Shire just didn't quite leave enough room for that. Will Klein maybe forced it, and that's actually a bigger crash than I thought we were going to have.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I figured that would be a little bit more cars involved in that crash, but nonetheless, a lot of cars keep rolling on, and we're going to have another shot at this green-white checker finish.
Another look at this one. Shire kind of protects, and I think Klein could have waited a little bit on that one. Gets turned back into the fence there. Will Klein, all things considered, cushions that impact pretty nicely. Shire got, I think, a bigger hit to the wall even. And Connor Anton, of course, a lot of damage to his number 10 out of all of this. Bobby Zielinski really is the one that really gets the short end of the stick in all of this one.
Yep, it's up there.
Oh, well, you know what? That's okay. Anytime you do that, Bobby, I think it's warranted.
He pulled the Kyle Busch shootout restart move right there.
Yeah, I think you're putting yourself up to risk of all of that when you come flying by the field like that. And now, I don't recall, admittedly, if there's a provision in the NORC iRacing Series rules against this. But regardless, when you put yourself in that position, coming up this much more quickly than the rest of the field, I think it's kind of, you're accepting the risk.
No doubt about that. You just see like a rocket ship coming up to speed here. He was full sending it no matter what. I mean,
he even dropped it down to third gear to stop it, so he didn't run people over.
Wow. I think he was hoping that it didn't fan out like it would have, and he could just go right to the lead. Obviously laps down, but make something of it.
He's going to pit for repairs and try and get that number 83 back into racing condition here as the field paces on. Ashley Molyneux then gets put in control of this race. So even just for that reason, if you get to the banking in 1 and 2, 9 times out of 10, if not 99 times out of 100, the bottom line is going to have the advantage. That's why I'm still left completely speechless by the move from John Berry to take the top side.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it just, you have to defend so many more moves on that top side, and when you're on the bottom, you know, you can use the bottom of the racetrack and the banking where it runs off to almost as a protector.
Well, while we have this opportunity under yellow, we'll look around, we'll see who we've got to talk to, and I think one that we should definitely speak with happens to drive the number 97, Howie Briss. And Howie, this has been an interesting little race for you. You've been in the mix for just about the entire race so far. Now, we got another green-white checkered. What do you do here to try and get this win?
I don't know. Just try and hold in. Pray that some of my birthday luck keeps me intact. Been clean so far, but I don't know about the finish.
Birthday luck, you say? What day was it?
Yeah, it's actually today.
What?
Yeah.
How did I not see this on Facebook?
Yeah, you missed it.
Well, happy birthday to Howie Briss.
Yeah.
All right, so how do you try and get this then? I mean, you're going to be restarting what, third on the bottom lane, so that's 5th place overall. And we were talking on the last restart about how much the bottom lane I think feels safer in this case. The top side, those guys are going to move around, they're going to make moves, and they're going to crash more than likely. How safe do you feel down here behind Northrop?
I got the apron as protection, so if they wreck up there, I can go right down, and hopefully the front floor in front of me kind of dies. So hopefully I'm able to pick up the win here.
And even if you don't, there's 3 more races after this. Trucks, Xfinity cars, and Gen 6 Cup cars. Which one do you like your chance best in?
Probably this one. Right now, this is the best I've done out of the weeks so far. So.
Well, there you go. Howie Briss likes this one, and he's restarting 5th here with 2 laps to go. Buddy, best of luck to you. Don't crash.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
All right, sounds like a pretty good plan there. Howie Briss, like I said, restarting 5th. That's a pretty good shot here, and I certainly would enjoy seeing the number 97 take a W tonight.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. We're getting ready to get to this restart, Andrew, and I'm curious to see how these drivers choose to play here in these final laps. Gonna try and make it to the finish. We'll see what happens.
Green, white, checkered on the way. Molyneux inside, Berry outside, then it's Northrup and Miller. Green flag is out at Daytona. 2 laps to go, unless we crash again. Oh, Molyneux contact there with Berry. Northrup followed every step of the way. We somehow stay under green. No crash, no yellow. We'll race out of turn 2.
Out of turn 2, 3 wide. This field gets jockeying for position. Ashley continues to ride, but here comes that second.
Oh, and she's getting turned.
Contact's made.
Big one into turn 3. I mean, big one. That is most of the field. Absolutely. Gregory's involved. Noel gets a piece. Falkingham, Keithley, Howie, I think, gets through somewhat unscathed. Josh Robin with a piece. And back to the line first. Guess who? Will Klein is going to be your race leader from the looks of things.
But Will Klein looking to go back-to-back here.
Now, we do, of course, get one more shot at the restart at least. We get unlimited attempts here. Northrup pushing Molyneux, and it was sketchy out of 2. This time, just a little too sketchy, and just caught her right rear, turns her around, and that's it from there. Everybody piles up. My goodness, John Berry, Cody Miller, Spencer Owens, Bobby Chaney crowd surfs the entirety of them all. Hayes Booth gets a piece. Aaron Smith gets hit again. Tony Hillbrand's a piece of it. My goodness.
Well, we've had multiple big ones, and now this shakes out new leaders at the front of the field. Interesting race, to say the least.
Watch that 48. He gets through it all. That's Will Klein. We're on board here with Aaron Smith, and that's why Will got through it. He stops there. They all pile up top, and my goodness. We could look at it. We could look at this crash for ages.
Yeah, I mean, just textbook plate racing crash. There's nowhere to go for these drivers. It's no one's fault. It's just when one thing happens, it leads to another, and the results you're going to get.
Here we go from Howie Briss' perspective. Birthday boy, the number 97. Right behind where it all starts. How does he get through it? Well, he doesn't. He gets a good piece of it there with Northrup. Continues on from there, though. I don't think he had any other damage in all. Oh, well, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, I think a driver that had a little bit of damage when she was turned into the field was Ashley Molyneux, but she was able to save it through the grass and I believe not go back up into the rest of the field, so might still have a car worth running here at the front.
Yeah, a lot of cars are still going to be pretty good in all of this, as we got some extracurricular activity between Tom Mercier and Terrell Baker, of all people. But this will extend us at least to lap 91 now. We'll be going at least to the 91st lap of 80. But we wouldn't have it any other NORC way, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think it's setting up for another shootout to the finish. I think we're going to keep having these until we get to that white flag, and then your guess is just as good as mine. I mean, I wouldn't say it's luck, but you've got to be in the right place, right time to keep your nose clean.
Somebody who knows about being in the right place at the right time, I think, drives the number 83 car here. And he's in a precarious little situation, going to restart 4th spot. And Bobby, you've seen just about every scenario you could possibly see on iRacing. You see another one there. You get through okay. You've had some damage earlier on in the race. How do you feel for this one?
I think we can win this, man. I mean, I came from 18th to the 4th in a restart, and now, well, we're going to try. I don't think the damage is too bad. I fixed most of it up. I know I got a little bit there in that last wreck, but that was what I was waiting for, that big crash.
So do you think it happens again?
Hopefully I'm not involved, and I'll be ahead of it, but I'm sending it, so...
So not even a matter of if, just you're kind of expecting it, hoping to get through it.
I truly don't know anymore.
Well, we've got 3 more races the rest of this month. I know you've got a lot of big things you got to attend to. Something about the NASCAR or something or other. Yeah, anyways, 3 more races. How many of them do we see Bobby Zalenski in?
I think the only one I can't do, which sucks, is the last one, the big one. But we'll see. I'm going to try to show up for the others as well.
All right, so I'll ask you the same thing I asked Howie Briss. How do you feel about the other 3, or the other 2 in your case? Do you like your chances in those better, or this one better?
I like my chances all the same, my friend.
There you go. It always is a bit of a crapshoot when you show up to Daytona, especially with the NORC iRacing Series. Buddy, best of luck to you, and don't crash.
Copy.
That's Bobby Zalenski in the number 83. He's going to get back at it. Amongst the rest of the field, restarts in that 4th position. Elijah Gracia behind him. That actually could work out. Elijah honestly could find his way through this. He just has a kind of a way about him.
No doubt about that. We'll see. I never would have thought that with the crashes Bobby Zalenski was in and everything else that he would be able to rebound the way he has. But we're coming to yet another restart, Andrew. We'll get to see how this race shakes out.
We're going to restart this race on lap 90 of 91. Will Klein, Tom Mercier, the front row. Sheldon Lockie, Bobby Zalenski behind. Green flag is back out at Daytona. A lot more of the field missing from this one, as a lot of them are in the pit lane with damage. These crashes certainly taking a toll, but these guys up front, they'll continue on down the Daytona super stretch, and it's Tom Mercier with the advantage. Big time help from Bobby Zalenski.
Bobby Zalenski gives that push. He'll stick to the top side. Mercier drops down to the bottom. Here comes Klein, who will close up back to his bumper in second.
Klein gets turned. Sheldon Lockie continues on. One car spinning. Is there a yellow? White flag is out for Bobby Zalenski, presented by Tucson Sound Dart. We stay green.
Bobby Zalenski out front, but here comes that 74 car of John Berry off the top side. He'll drop down to the middle lane.
Miles in the wall. That checks up Williams. Now Berry protecting the inside. Mercier with a move. He goes low. Berry tries to block. Now Zalenski's going to look high. Berry's going to get himself turned, and that's the field. Josh Robin is going to lead out of all of it, but we've still got a race. Cody Miller's there. Elijah Gracia's there. Recall what I told you about Elijah. Robin blocks. They all crash. It's going to be Cody Miller.
Keeps it clean out of turn number 4.
And to the line, the 28 wins at Daytona in the NORCTONA ARCA 200. Second across the line goes to birthday boy Howie Briss. Ashley Molyneux will come through and collect 4th behind Seth Noel. And the entire top 10 goes for a tizzy. I can't believe it.
Wow. I have said it, I think I've said wow 10 times during this race, but I'm really speechless, honestly. I mean, what a race.
Cody Miller has just won at Daytona once again. Backs up his win in the NORC Season 13 debut at Daytona some time ago. And just was in the right place at the right time, especially when Josh Robin had to drop down and block Elijah Gracia. And Cody's going to throw it through the grass, putting the DuPont Flames back in victory lane at Daytona where they belong. So celebration time, the Daytona grass. Thankfully, he doesn't have to pay for it. He's going to tear it all up. Doesn't have to keep that motor. Doesn't have to keep that car. Full celebration for the driver of the 28. And I think a really, really good win. We'll let him keep celebrating. We don't want to miss that, but we do want to go back at some point and look at that finish. I'm astonished, honestly, that he gets through all of that and comes through with a victory. You can see Sean Williams and TCB, longtime friends and teammates, celebrating here with Cody. Good win there for the 28 car.
No doubt, Cody Miller just right place, right time. You can see right there what an awesome scene that is.
looks pretty good from the speed shot, too. Look at all that smoke there on the inside. A couple of friends that really, really enjoy this one. Let's go back and look at all of that coming to the checkered flag. I still am just so astonished as to what even happened here. Coming to the white flag, he's on the top side in 8th spot. Let's just ride on board with him and see how this develops. So he's following Josh Robin there, and the crash is going to be really John Barry. Just moves up and really just puts himself in a bad spot. Trying to defend here. Zelensky gets into him, turns John around. Cody's just right place, right time there, and then really his only other competition out front goes down and blocks Elijah Gracia, something that Josh had to do, but you also put yourself in that position to get turned like that, and that's the view from behind Cody Miller as they all wad him up, and it's clear, smooth sailing to a checkered flag.
I mean, he just kept his nose clean through each one of those, and the checkers or wreckers sticks to be true. I mean, he just kept driving until his windshield was clear and drove it all the way to the start-finish line.
So Will Klein got spun there on the inside. Connor Anton helped him around. Zelensky then goes up and defends the middle, trying to keep that lead from Gracia. That's where Barry comes on through for the moment, gets the race lead, drops down in front of Bobby. And we've got to go back over this defense from John Barry. That's really what sparks all of this. He goes up, tries to defend. Bobby doesn't lift. I mean, it's the last lap. Nobody's going to lift for that. I think that was maybe needed. It's the last lap, fair enough. But, yeah, that's the result of it. Then Josh Robin comes down, blocks Elijah Grassi. We saw this one live, too, and they wad him up. And, man, Hillbrand's got a big piece. Wow. At that point, nobody's lifting. Benjamin Miles, really big hit. You see Terrell Baker flipping down the banking out of turn 4. Just wow.
I think that's the word of the race. I mean, I don't know how you would explain that. I mean, I wish I had the words for it, but speechless to see that kind of finish here at Daytona.
We've seen crazier things before, but this ranks up there with them. A driver who came to the white flag 8th wins the race, and this is a look at things from the groundhog cam. My goodness. Huge crashes that last lap. That said, Caleb, this is our opportunity to step aside, find a way to breathe after all of that, decompress, and we've got post-race interviews here on just the far side of a quick post-race break. Do not go anywhere, NORC iRacing Series fans. The interviews with your top 3 from Daytona, Cody Miller, Howie Briss, and hopefully Seth Noel, they are on the way on Pit Stop TV.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home by combining the best of 2 products. A revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Some 91 laps later, were finally able to crown a victor in the NORCTONA ARCA 200, and much like race number 1 of season 13, Cody Miller goes back to victory lane, putting the DuPont stripes back in the winner's circle. Cody, what the heck happened?
You know, so I wrecked in the last one. It was spectacular, that wreck in the last green white checker. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I had 3 minutes of damage, so I'm like, all right, I fixed like a minute of it. Restarted 16th or something on this last restart here. I'm like, well, time to just go high and see where it goes. And we went high, and we stayed high like the entire time, and everybody died.
6 laps led, you were up in the lead a few times, mixing it up the entire race. I know these ARCA cars are always a fan favorite, but they haven't been run seriously in NORC in a while. What was it like getting back into them?
I hate these cars. You can't bump anybody. You have to like air push them, like have like a cushion of air to like push people, and that's annoying. It causes me to like have to concentrate, and I don't like to think hard. So these I don't like these, no, at all.
Well, but it looked fun at the very least to mix it up with everybody, and obviously comers and goers, TCB up there for a little while. How do you think that, I guess, dynamic is going to continue? We got trucks next week, then Xfinity cars, and Gen 6 Cup cars at the very end.
I mean, I understand, like, everybody here, you know, races, it's like one of the, you know, it's the last of the league. She's dead, you know, so we're trying to go out there and at least put on a show, nice show, good, you know, racing and fucking, sorry. Like, I think it'll be amazing. Like 3-4 wide, very aggressive, but yet not too aggressive where we're just wrecking each other the whole time. So I think it'll be all right. Be a good time.
Well, it has certainly been great racing thus far. You go back to victory lane. I think that's a pretty high point. We'll see where the rest goes. And hey, best of luck to you, buddy. 3 races to go. Go get 3 W's.
I mean, I think I could do it.
Well, fair enough, buddy. We'll be watching along. I know you got a lot of guys out there in the YouTube chat even cheering you along. And hey, being part of that Team TCB thing, I'm sure it has its perks, yeah?
I don't think so. I think it's a bane of my existence.
Well, congratulations. 6 laps led. You won at Daytona, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, that's cool beans.
Cody Miller wins here. Definitely apologize for the bit of language there. That's kind of just Cody Miller. That's kind of what you're getting when you talk to the driver of the 28 car. We'll move things on down the line, though, to Howie Briss, somebody that I think is going to be pretty happy when it's all said and done.
Yeah, Howie Briss brings it home in 2nd place. Birthday boy Briss, as we should say. A hectic race. You had to keep your nose clean all day long. You finished 2nd. You got up to 1st. It seemed like you were one of those drivers that was able to stay out front for a majority of the afternoon. Take us through how this race shaked out for you.
Well, to be honest, 2nd sucks, but I felt like if I kept the car clean, just kept it easy, didn't make aggressive moves in the beginning, I would have probably got a good shot at the end, which I did. Then I did kill Robin, I think, around lap 44, which I do apologize for that. It looked like I was trying to block him, and it looks like he didn't have room, and then he got apologized, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, I kept clean. I was surprised about that, and then right at the end, just chaos everywhere. But I'm surprised I went from 11th on that restart up to 2nd. I'll take that.
Well, I mean, with these green-white checkers we had at the finish, did you have any kind of specific strategy for these? I mean, or was it just, you know, keep the nose clean, pedal to the metal, go for the win?
Just let all hell break loose and go get it.
Well, good deal. Howie, once again, we want to give you a big happy birthday. Any special celebrations going on tonight?
Probably not tonight. Maybe tomorrow, this weekend. I know my friend Joe's probably going to take me to Space Aliens. Maybe go get a burger. Deal. So, yeah, and I think my mom and my whole family, they're probably watching. Maybe Aunt Stephanie out on the West Coast. She probably might be, but everybody. My phone's been blowing up all day about birthday and everything. So, yeah, thanks. I just want to say thanks for everybody for the birthday gifts. So, and the wishes.
Well, congratulations once again. A stout run, 2nd place. Obviously, not the win you wanted, but 2nd place, a good finish, able to keep that car clean. And once again, happy birthday from all of us at Pit Stop TV.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Howie Briss collects that second place finish today. Silver on the day has got to feel pretty good for him. Another guy that I think will be pretty happy, well, he's got the wrong number on his car. Seth, that's not a 27.
No, it's not.
Well, anyways, the car looks pretty darn good. I will say, if you're going to have the wrong number on your car, that's a good paint scheme to do it with. The purple looks fantastic. But, all in all, pretty good day of racing. Collected in a couple of incidents, but it always seemed like the purple heat was somewhere in the frame.
In the back.
Well, I mean, you had your moments. You got up there a couple of times, and you definitely, especially those last few wrecks, you were there for them, and they all happened in the front. So what's it like, those last couple of restarts, green, white, checkers, trying to navigate, I mean, the NORC field? We had 3 NORC finishes, really, those 3 green, white, checkers.
Yeah, I really don't know how I got there. I just kind of avoided the wrecks. I really didn't do anything, to be honest. That's really it. I mean, I just sat there and watched everyone else kill each other, and then managed to somehow Mickey Mouse my way into third.
So one of the NORC part-timers, didn't run very much, if at all, in Season 13. Getting back into it here for kind of the cool down for NORC. How do you feel about the next 3 races? We got trucks, we got Xfinity cars, we got Cup cars for the NORCTONA 500. How do you feel about them?
I really don't know. I didn't even know the race was tonight until probably 15 minutes before the race, so I don't even know where any of these other tracks are or what car it is, but I'll probably be out there and trying to put on a show.
Well, I can tell you they are all Daytona, and they're in those cars that I just listed. Pretty much current NASCAR stock cars the rest of the way, which leads me to believe that maybe we'll see some more pretty cool paint schemes off of Trading Paints. I mean, there's good ones out there, and this is a good one today.
It depends on the car. For most of the modern day cars, it'll probably be what I run. As far as team wise, it won't be the special throwback to Truex or anything, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Rowden on making this paint. It's up on Trading Paints right now. Beautiful purple paint. Looks really good at night. Looks really good at day. So shout out to Rowden.
There you go. Seth Noel claims the 3rd place here in the NORCTONA ARCA 200. Buddy, congratulations. A podium's got to feel pretty good, especially being as low as 26th at some point in this race. Congratulations. We'll see you next week in the trucks.
Appreciate it, boys.
That's Seth Noel after the NORCTONA ARCA 200. And you know what? Now that he says it, that is a Martin Truex Jr. throwback, isn't it? Caleb? Well, Caleb was here. Anyways, we've got some results here after 200 and something miles of action here at Daytona. There was a lot to go through, and when it's all said and done, Cody Miller is your winner at Daytona. Howie Briss, 2nd place. Seth Noel in 3rd. Ashley Molyneux, 4th. Sean Williams, a top 5. Pretty good finishes for those guys considering the end. Aaron Smith, 6th. John Barry, 7th. Josh Robin in the 8th spot, matching his car number. Elijah Gracia takes 9th. Connor Anton matches his car number and grabs a top 10.
11th, bringing it home in the unofficial results, is Sheldon Lockie. 12th is Tom Mercier. Bobby Zielinski, who was battling up there for the win, brings it home 13th. Got Schuer there in 14th. Benjamin Miles, 15th. 16th is the 92 of Tony Hillbrand. 17th, last week's winner, the 48 of Will Klein. 18th to 12 of Spencer Owens. 19th, the 2 of Hayes Booth. And 20th, the 53 of Michael Keithley.
If you roll back to 21st, it's Terrell Baker, 4 laps down. When is his luck going to turn around? He has been so good in these NORC Super Speedway races, just is never able to be there at the end when he honestly should be. He just always gets taken out in some kind of something. Jimmy Gregory, 26th, kind of same story there. He was really good today, always in the top 10. Ends up right in front of Nick Northrup, who, again, very similar story. Even Bobby Chaney, those guys taken out right there in those last few laps, those last few crashes. Really good days, just nothing to show for it. Daniel Falkingham, 25th. Anthony Emery, 26th. And Jared Darling wraps it all up. 52 laps down, 27th after his contact with the outside wall. Caleb, we've had a couple of tastes now of the NORC iRacing series for you. You had an opportunity to get kind of acclimated to these guys. How do you feel about it all?
2 great races. I mean, 2 completely different style of races and style of cars, but nonetheless, it seems like with these races and them not being points races and just a last send-off for NORC, they're just sending it from the moment the green flag starts. So I think it's perfect for the fans watching. I mean, if you want an entertaining race from the beginning to the end, I think these NORC races at Daytona, whether it be what we've got coming up with Truck and Xfinity and then Cup, I think they're going to be all entertaining.
Entertaining in the least. Absolutely. They will be more than entertaining. I should say at the very least. That's what I was looking for there. Regardless, we've got some upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV. The fun never stops. And continuing on this week, Thursday afternoon here in the States, evening over across the pond in the UK, we've got BSRTC action from Circuit to Spa. That is at 8 p.m. UK time. That's 3 p.m. Here on the Eastern Seaboard, 12 noon if you're out west in California, Oregon, Washington, that area of the country. Sunday morning. That's weird to say. Sunday morning, we've got the North American Racing League Streamer Championship at 11 a.m. Eastern. Road racers beware. This will be a fun one to watch. We've got Dave Cam, Dan Suzuki, Matt Malone, Balkan, Samsoid, 46 Love, and Love 46, I believe, and Daniel Morad streaming that one for them their own perspectives, but they are the streamers that make it the Streamer Championship. They're each electing a team to take to Road America in GT3 machinery and do battle. It's going to be one of the best races that we have on the channel the entire year, and I believe that. I stand by it. Road America is always a fun one, especially with GT3 cars. You should definitely tune in. Again, 11 a.m. Eastern, that's 8 a.m. on the East Coast, and you can extrapolate from there for your time zone. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we finish up on Sunday with a weird Sunday double that we don't usually have, 8:45 Eastern with the Scar Grid Sports Car Championship. That is GT1 cars at Montreal. Remember Montreal used to be on the NASCAR schedule, should be on the Formula One schedule if Formula One's able to get back into Canada this year. Fantastic little racetrack. I know Emerson, part of our broadcast crew, I know he loves the place with good reason. Circuit Jules Villeneuve is going to be a lot of fun on Sunday evening. You'll want to make sure to be there for that one as well. And Caleb, there's a lot of places to keep up with Pit Stop TV. I know Emerson's been working on them for the last couple of hours, and we've got a lot of things coming the rest of the week and into next week and beyond. And these are those links.
Yeah, no doubt. If you want to keep up with everything going on around the Pit Stop TV world, you can follow us at facebook.com Pit Stop TV. That's Pit Stop TV. And then you can go to Twitter at Pit Stop TV _ to keep up with us there, or Instagram Pit _ Stop _ TV. And on YouTube at Pit Stop TV 1. The best in the game at all the socials. Emerson, Pit Stop TV. Keep up with all the racing action Thursday and then a doubleheader on Sunday. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, doubleheader today. We get to do the same thing on Sunday. Hopefully there's a little bit less talking in it for me because I'm going to be honest, my throat hurts pretty bad right now. Haven't done a double like this in a while, I think since the VRP and Pacific Challenge days. It's been a little bit, but pretty fun nonetheless. Really glad to be back on the call with NORC Action. I have to say, all of you diehard NORC fans that have stuck around as we've transitioned into Pit Stop TV covering this series, thank you so much for being here. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from somebody who's competed in this league for a long time, now gets to take it to the next level, ideally at least with production value and these broadcasts. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching these broadcasts. It really, really does mean a lot, and to be able to do so when you've got a month of racing like this is just oh so special, and it makes these doubles worth it. Haven't done it in a while, but it makes talking all day quite worth it. We've got, as I mentioned, a lot of great races to tune into the rest of the week, the rest of the month, and it continues on with the NORC iRacing series. We've got Daytona again next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Daytona all month into February, and you can catch all the action here on Pit Stop TV. That all said, without much further ado, I think we'll bid you all farewell. Once again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Some pretty good numbers in the viewer category this evening, and you guys certainly, are the driving force behind Pit Stop TV. You guys are why we keep doing this, and keep doing it so often, sometimes twice a day. For all of Pit Stop TV, in this case this evening, Caleb Gladney alongside Emerson Arden on social media duties. We've got a lot more in the works the rest of the month. You'll want to make sure again to keep up with it and maybe even join the crew. Email me directly at andrew@pitstoptv.com to get involved. Until next time though, have a great night. We will see you there.